Hey yo, it's Tony the Tiger back at here again with another feature match fresh out of the kitchen for y'all. This time on the left hand side, we're going to have ROLAD new deck fresh out of Chaos Origins. Everybody's been loving classic Yugi cards. And on the right hand side, our boy Yuri back at it again with the Power Patron DoomZ deck. So we're going to see them rock, paper, scissors for who's going first. And it looks like we are going to be having the ROLAD player on the left side start with Radiant Typhoon Vision here in the draw phase. Met with a Perulia. Going to be pretty good stopping those summons from the hand. Discarding MST on resolution of the vision. We're going to keep that going with a Sinful Spoils. Quick play spell to search the Diabell Star. Honestly, in my opinion, I think this is the superior engine. Definitely does a lot more than the branded engine, in my opinion. However, it is going to be painful to this Perulia having to give a draw for the Diabell Star, which we are going to do. Sending the Skull Archfiend. Gotta love this 1-2 punch. We're going to chain link 1 Skull Archfiend, sending the Ritual Spell for cost to search, and chain link 2 Diabell Star to set. So not only are you protecting that Skull Archfiend from resolving, but getting free discard fodder off that. And we're going to see a Fualos on the right-hand side as well. Just best combination of cards you want to see going second, especially for a deck like Doom's Power Patron, where you just want to have engine cards in your hand, as many as possible going second. It's definitely one way to do it. We're going to Magician Souls, sending a Black Chaos for cost. Sorry, it's a little hard to see. Giving another draw. Again, basically everything except for Graveyard Advantage is going to give our opponent one draw. We're going to see him, correct him, flip it up just so that you can get it back. We're going to use Magician Souls, sending that Deception to draw one card. Let's see if it's anything to kind of get us out of this mess. We don't want to give our opponent too many draws, but at this point, it's kind of hard to say anything up. We're going to see Ritual Spell add back Black Chaos in itself. Black Chaos getting right back into the graveyard to place the Mind Shuffle. So a little worse than if it were something like Griffo, because we could set it, flip it immediately to play on something like Ghost Ogre, but still gets there anyways. We're going to see Seeker of the Simple Spoils, putting the Deception back to the bottom, giving us a Upstart Goblin, as well as recycling that Deception for later on. I believe we saw him drawn to the Chaos Hats. We're going to banish the Diabell Star for everybody's favorite fusion from a few months ago, the Dark Magician of Destruction, giving yet another draw. And I imagine we'll probably see, hopefully he plays something like Gaze of Timaeus. Normally this Dark Magician of Destruction would search the Magician's Souls. You know, a lot of people are hyping up the Gaze of Timaeus, but it does really just end up being a brick, and it's a little win more. But at this point, if he's going into Dark Magician Destruction, he's giving that draw. He is valuing that search. We're going to Ragged Record Divide to reveal the Ritual Spell to search Celtic Mystic. Side note, he didn't search off a Dark Magician of Destruction, so what you would probably read on the right-hand side is he probably has the Gaze in his hand already, because there was no reason to give you that draw unless he already has it or he wanted to search it. We're going to see the Light and Darkness Ritual. Banishing the Black Chaos to summon the Magician of Dark Chaos. And we're going to set 1, 2, normal summon the Celtic Mystic. Give our opponent yet another draw. Celtic Mystic, crazy card, basically Graceful Charity on legs. We met with a Gamma. Whoa, hand trap after hand trap on the right-hand side. Just definitely cards you want to see going second. That Gamma limited to 1 a few years ago, but definitely really good going second. Imagine you probably play it with cards like Delta just to make it so you're not at a 1-1 ratio with a good card to bad card, that driver there. You can get yourself back to 3-1 like what people were doing with the Triple Gamma 1 driver all those years ago. Skull Archfiend of Chaos can use its effect, bringing back Black Chaos, Light Darkness Ritual, and Fualos into the deck. Now, something to note, we did see the Chaos Hats. I actually don't like this Skull Archfiend. Likely we're not going to do anything with it, and because we did this, say Gaze puts the Dark Magician of Destruction off the board, puts a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon in the EMZ, we would have then enough space to activate Chaos Hats. But now, even when we get rid of that D mod, we're still going to have 3 cards in the main monster zone. We're not going to have enough space to activate that Chaos Hat. So just something to note if you are playing the ROLAD deck. We're going to see another Perulia. Unfortunate for the ROLAD player, meaning that Mind Shuffle, that card that is normally one of the most powerful interaction pieces for that deck, is just going to keep giving draws to our opponent. We're going to see him start with the Scale of the Nervetto, a little hard to see, and then activate a copy of Etherealized Pastel. This is going to be, again, Emergency Teleport for a copy of Medius, and on the resolution, our opponent will not be able to activate anything on the summon. As we'll see here, he does remember it. Unlike our last commentary locals feature match, we did forget that part of the pass law in game 1. We're going to see Mind Shuffle chained to the theorized pass law, and again, probably some unfamiliarity from the ROLAD player, because we're going to see Medius the pure Chainlink 1, and he's going to try to BLS Chainlink 2, but the theorized pass law does make that Medius basically spell speed 4, so we just kind of gave our opponent the draw for absolutely nothing. Medius the pure going to either special or search. A Power Patron, we're going to go ahead and special summon the Nervado. Another star right there, just a super blinged out deck. You know, Yair really loves this Power Patron deck, so I'm not surprised that all of these guys are blinged out. And like we said, you could kind of read it. The Gaze of Tamaya is going to be activated on resolution, shuffling back that D mod to summon Dragoon in the EMZ. And again, what I pointed out with that Skull Archfiend Chaos, if we had just left that guy in the graveyard, we didn't really get much value off of it anyways. We would be able to use our Chaos hats, but now we're kind of cock-blocked out of using that guy. We're going to see Nervedo sending a Assault from hand to contact fuse into the Non-Finito. Going to go Nervedo 1, Non-Finito 2. Sometimes it's questionable what you do in this chain link. Sometimes you're going to play around something like Harmonia by using the Non-Finito as chain link 1. But in a deck like this, we're probably not expecting a Harmonia, especially because it would kind of keep us from using the Dragoon on the left-hand side. So going to instead protect ourselves from things like Ash on the Nervedo. Non-Finito going to be able to set that wonderful counter trap from the Archmage strategy that'll let us banish it and negate a monster effect. You see him explaining that there, and the Nervedo's going to summon Ginoldo. And unfortunately, from here, just given how things are, it is going to be very difficult for the ROLAD player to actually keep this game from snowballing out of control. We're going to see MST on the counter trap. So this is good, at least making sure that our Dragoon will actually be able to negate something. So see where he decides to go from here. We're going to use the Ginoldo, banishing the top 3 cards of the deck for cost. It's going to pop itself and summon its respective Power Patron extra deck monster, this one being the Genora. We're going to see Chaos Hats, but again, like I mentioned with the Skull Archfiend Chaos, we cannot activate that here because we need to have 3 empty main monster zones to summon those 3 spells of trap, so we cannot do that. Unfortunate, especially because that Skull Archfiend Chaos didn't really have to come out. It didn't actually provide us any value on the ROLAD player side. So just something to think about if you're playing that deck. We're going to see Mind Shuffle Chain, bringing it back, summoning out the Magician of Black Chaos. We should have drawn one on the Power Patron side, but it's probably not going to matter anyways. Genora is going to be summoned. We're going to use Ginoldo Chainlink 1 to add back. And Genora, this card, kind of a secret weapon for the Power Patron DoomZ deck. If you aren't aware, you haven't played it yourself, DoomZ does have kind of a hard time dealing with these ROLAD cards, but Genora just being a blanket negate your entire field is a really easy way to claw it back, and we do see the ROLAD player scoop here. Honestly, this game was kind of sealed. I think the point where you saw it get out of hand was activating that Skull Archfiend. Honestly, I think we could have done a decent bit more if we had kept in mind that we can't have Skull Archfiend on the board and still use the Chaos Magical Hat. So definitely something that we want to think about going forward. On the side, however, we do appreciate you guys for being patient. We appreciate the reception on the last commentary video. Again, myself, this is now my 2nd time doing it. I'm definitely going to be trying to improve as time goes on. Remember, leave comments down there. Anything you want to see, whether it be a specific matchup or you guys have comments on my commentary. I'm always looking for ways to improve here. But we are definitely happy with the way that things are going, the traction we're gaining, and the views we're picking up. And that's all thanks to you guys, so we appreciate that. Back into the match, though, we're probably going to see, if you caught a glimpse, a bunch of Solemns on the left-hand side for the ROLAD player, which just check out. Deck's pretty simple. You probably just take out Charmies, put those in. Honestly, that's most decks right now. Most decks are just opting for, let me main deck 3 to 6 more Charmies. When I go first, take them out for cards like Solemns. On the right-hand side, like we saw last week, probably going to see things like Pot of Sloth come in. Just to give us that mulligan, really shape our hand, give us the perfect opportunity to capitalize on our opponent's board going second. Outside of that, most of our deck's probably going to stay relatively the same, outside of just putting those Pot of Sloths in. We've kind of talked about this. It is a little bit more rough of a matchup for Power Patron DoomZ going into ROLAD. just because all of their interactions are non-targeting pops, so that does not bode well for us into the rituals or the back row with that Magician of Black Chaos retrain. But stuff like that Genora, Synchro Monster, just being able to negate the Mind Shuffle does help a lot. So now in game 2, another strategy we've been talking about, when your opponents are citing things like Mulch Armies and Lava Golems for going first, we can do that, but that's not going to apply here. We're going to activate Ragged Records of Rights. We're going to... We should reveal the ritual spell, but we know he's playing it. He's going to add the Griffo. Griffo can send itself from the hand to the graveyard to set a continuous trap or quick play spell that mentions the ritual spell. Going to be that Mind Shuffle. Definitely a little bit worse of a start than just starting with the Griffo directly, because we could have been hit by a troll, but when there's no troll, they're basically the same card. We're going to see Mind Shuffle, add and discard the Skull Archfiend of Chaos, Skull Archfiend of Chaos, go dump the ritual spell for cost, adding the Magician of Dark Chaos, Black Chaos. I do not know who named these cards. Say that 10 times fast. Let's see where we decide to go from here. It does look like a pretty Rolad heavy hand. We see a Solemn in the hand. We're going to go ritual spell, add back the Griffo, activate the ritual spell using the, I believe that was the Griffo as material. The Magician of Dark Chaos, Black Chaos, going to add back. We're going to be hit with a Fuelos. Just doing that here in case our opponent decides to go into a Dark Magician of Destruction. We want to just kind of cut those lines off for them. As you know, you just need a level 6 or higher Dark Spellcaster and to have activated a spell, which we have done both. We're going to set 1, 2. Are we going to set anything else? We see a Vision in the hand, see another Griffo. Oh, and we did use a Black Chaos from hand as material. So we do know that there's a Griffo, and we do know there's a ritual spell. So the whole hand is known, I believe, to the Power Patron player. Draw phase, we're going to go Mind Shuffle, adding either the Ritual Monster or the other Skull Archfiend. We're just going to go ahead and straight up add the BLS in the gorgeous extended art. Love how those two look side by side. Let's see what he decides to do from here. We're going to Griffo, still in the draw phase, going to go and set that Chaos Hats in here. Because we have 4 empty monster zones, we are actually going to be able to use that. So again, just remembering, if you are the ROLAD player, you need to have basically just one of the deck monsters for the quote-unquote archetype and at least 3 empty main monster zones. I'm going to start with a DoomZ Change. If you guys remember, this is just going to be destroy any DoomZ card in your deck. Really crazy card for this strategy. Also, if you guys watched our recent combo video, it is a 1-card combo for this deck. We're going to chain the Chaos Hats to it. That can be chained to a normal spell, trap, or a monster. We're going to choose 3 spells or traps from our deck, set them, and the ritual monster, and our opponent's effect will essentially just become popped the face down, one of them. We're going to choose Fallen of the Virtuous, Forbidden Crown, and Seeker of Sinful Spoils. And the reason why this is really cool is because whenever your opponent pops, eventually when we get that Magician of Dark Chaos back onto the field, we can add back any of these spells. We're going to swap out Crown for Deception. That's all fine and dandy. But like I was saying, with the Magician of Black Chaos just being able to add back anything, you can almost search your deck for any spell card, which is pretty cool. Some people are doing some nutty stuff like Waking the Dragon, but we know that's kind of a win more card. Not going to see that at top tables. We end up popping the Deception, and we start with scaling the, I believe that is a copy of Geppetto. A little bit hard to see, but it's the only one that's common, so it's probably that one. Geppetto can destroy a DoomZ or Power Patron monster in our hand or field and itself, and then also pop a card in the field. So let's see what he decides to do here. We're going to chain the Mind Shuffle to this. Mind Shuffle, go ahead and bounce back a level 7 or higher for cost. We're going to bounce back the Ritual Monster, summon the BLS. We're going to destroy Geppetto in hand as well as Geppetto on the field. So note that the Geppetto in hand will go to the graveyard, just being the nature of pendulums. They go to the extra deck when they are destroyed if they are on the field, not in the hand. Geppetto, when it hits the extra deck, we'll be able to search for any Power Patron or DoomZ spell or trap. We're going to search for the Terminus, one of the best cards in the current format. super splashable, going to send, and nope, we're not going to do that. We're just going to hit that with a Solemn Judgment. Unfortunate. But that's the nature of this format. We see things like Accusation and Judgment going in, going first, and they just say, no, sir, you're not going to do any of that today. See where our Power Patron DoomZ duelist decides to take it from here. We're going to Magnum Mutt, which is good, but not going to get us anywhere. No, and we're going to see that hit with the Solemn Warning as well. We see a Genoldo in the hand, and we just scoop it up on the Power Patron Doom side. Definitely unfortunate, but that's really just, if any deck gets to set up whatever their deck wants to do and set Solemn Warning, Solemn Judgment, you're probably not doing too well. So that's unfortunate for the Power Patron Doom side. Maybe if those Solemns weren't there, we would have been able to do a little bit more, but it's all right. It happens. That's Yu-Gi-Oh! I did get a little bit ahead of myself with game 2, but as you see from the ROLAD player, you just probably saw Drolls, Fuas, Perulias, Lava Golem. Something you and I have talked about is when you're expected to go first, your opponent is going to side in cards like that. Cards tribute off your board, cards like the Perulias, the Fuas. They're basically putting 9 to 10 hard going second cards in their deck. And a strategy we've seen, maybe not too often once people can kind of pick up on you doing it, but you can almost send people going first, and a quarter of their deck is just useless going first. So I believe that is going to be what we see him do here. We're going to see the ROLAD player, funny enough, go first all 3 games, I believe. A little scary of a strategy sometimes. I know that stresses me out a little bit, but hey, it does work. It got him some of his matches and Nats fairly convincingly. So definitely a strategy to try out if you're playing a deck like Power Patron DoomZ or one of these super engine-heavy decks that doesn't play a ton of non-engine, where what's better than going first than going second and your opponent can't do anything because they have a handful of Lava Golems and Perulias and can't really do anything. Unfortunately, the strategy isn't going to work out super well because we see that the ROLAD player did open a fairly good hand for going first, just drew into a Fulos with that Visions, but it's going to be fine. It's just 1 card. It's not like we drew too many of those. We're going to discard Wanted, Secret Sensible Spoils off of the Visions. And what do we want to do to follow this up? We're going to activate a copy of Deception of the Sinful Spoils, tributing off what I believe was the Skull Archfiend of Chaos to search. Copy of the Hallowed Azamina. Skull Archfiend of Chaos. Going to be able to, on resolution. Oh, we did not tribute that. Okay, I can't see what we tributed then. Anyways, instead, we're going to just Hallowed Azamina, send Deception. Summon the Mu Arceolago. This will let us search for a Sinful Spoils spell. Going to add another copy of Seeker, so kind of the reason why we discarded that Seeker Sinful Spoils off of the Visions. We're going to Seeker Sinful Spoils, banish itself to Upstart Goblin, putting that Deception back at the bottom of the deck, drawing into what looked like a trap card. And no, that would have been the Black Chaos, and Black Chaos sending itself to immediate with the Mind Shuffle there. So really clean top deck there. Just getting us directly into Engine. We're going to go Mind Shuffle, adding, because we already have Skull Archfiend, probably a copy of Griffo, and we're going to be able to go discard the Skull Archfiend of Chaos. So just as if we were to go add Mind Shuffle, add Skull Archfiend, discard it, but even better because now we get a Griffo as well out of it. We're going to go Skull Archfiend of Chaos in the Line Darkness Ritual, adding the Magician, Dark Chaos, Black Chaos. Super long name for no reason. I'm going to normal summon the Griffo. Griffo will go link 1 into Relinquish Anima. We're going to link the Mu Arceolago and the Anima off for a copy of Cross Sheep, Hallowed Azamina. Bounce back the Mu Arceolago to add itself back to the hand. And we did add a copy of the Seeker of Sinful Spoils, so we will be able to go Azamina 1, Seeker 2. Keep in mind, while this is really clean, something like Bell would really hurt here, essentially just cutting off both cards. But we don't see Bell here, so it's perfectly fine. I'm going to go Sylvia, and then on resolution, the Cross Sheep, because the Fusion was summoned to its zone. We're going to summon back the Griffo, send that Griffo for the Dia Bellstar that we just added. And we will now be able to set that Deception that we started with earlier in this turn. So not going to be able to use it this turn, but will give us follow-up for later turns because we've activated a spell. Dia Bellstar fits the bill for Dark Magician Destruction. Going to banish her, adding the Gaze of Timaeus. So this essentially is going to represent a copy of Dragoon. And honestly, if you saw the hand, really what's spelling the most for the Power Patron DoomZ player is that copy of Droll in the hand. If you've seen this played, you know Droll is definitely the one piece of non-engine that really, really, really hurts this deck. It can play through a good amount of things. One Charmy, it might be able to just push through and not give too many draws, but definitely something like Droll is going to be super, super rough. We're going to see the Ritual Spell banishing the Griffo as the full material. Summon the Ritual Monster. Black Chaos going to go ahead and add back Seeker. And if you saw that hand, that's crazy. And we have a copy of Crown. We have a copy of Gaze of Timaeus. We have a copy of Droll. So it is a very, very hard spot to be in if you are the Power Patron DoomZ player. We're going to link into SP, link into Charmer Quartet. Charmer Quartet, bring back SP, Skull Archfiend. Personally, not a huge fan of what was done there. I might have even preferred just leaving the Cross Sheep up to just potentially be another Reborn. If a Fusion's next to it, say you go Summon Dragoon next to the Cross Sheep, it can Reborn whatever from your graveyard, but that's just me. When it gets to the next player's turn, we're going to Sinful Spoils Seeker in draw phase, searching another Diabell Star. Just kind of freeing up space. Mind Shuffle also going to add a copy of Skull Archfiend. Diabell Star is going to summon herself because if she's sent on your opponent's turn, she could summon herself. She'll send the Skull Archfiend from hand. So you won't see her set anything, but because she did send the Skull Archfiend from hand, it'll basically be the same thing as if we had just gone Mind Shuffle, add, discard Skull Archfiend. But we get a body out of it, which is pretty cool. Going to see Santa Claus on the Ilias Sylvia. So pretty nice, just clearing out one of these negates. Also, something I think is weird about this, I don't really love reading the Diabell Star because now you have to wait to be able to gaze. So say your opponent had called by for the Droll, you can't really negate it now because you just filled up your own board. And we do see Pot of Sloth here, which is going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cards if we do not chain anything to it. So let's see what he decides to do. We're going to chain the SP, just cutting our opponent down, saying, hey, we're not going to let you draw 10 cards. That Persinatrix keeps confusing me. We're going to let you draw 8 cards. Still a crap ton, but we're feeling pretty good if we're the ROLAD player. Again, we saw that Droll already, so unless our opponent has called by in the hand, this is probably just going to be game. Just off virtue of it's very hard to play through Droll, especially when you're going into an established field. So we'll draw 8, put back 7, going to net us even. You draw 8, you put back 7, and then you use the Pot of Sloth from hand. So you do always end up going back to exactly where you were before you activated the Pot of Sloth, but you get a sculpted hand, so nobody's really complaining too much there. So definitely some questionable things from the ROLAD player, but you're in such a commanding position, and you know you have that Droll in your hand, so definitely don't want to get too, how would you say, cocky with it. When you know you have that Droll in your hand, we could have potentially set ourselves up with more board space empty to just go ahead and Dragoon in the draw phase to make sure that our Droll goes through, just in case you have something like Cross Out, Called By. Even though they're unlikely, you don't want to lose the game when you kind of have it in the bag already. We're going to Droll on Resolution of the Pot of Sloth, and at this point, there is not much that we can do if we are the Power Patron DoomZ player. I'm going to take a Miracle here. Let's see if he can pull anything out. It is not looking good, though. We see another Santa Claus. Yep, we Santa Claus over the Dragoon. Do we have a way to keep playing through this, though? Even under that Droll, we activate what looks like a copy of the Ginaldo. Again, apologize for that glare. It is Christmas time on the left-hand side there. See him activate the effect, so most likely a Geppetto. Yep, he's going to pop a DoomZ card in his hand, pop the Geppetto, and then pop the Diabell Star. We're going to use the Alara. Again, remembering that the Alara does not actually search. She sets instead. So it is able to play a little bit around Droll. But again, with an established board like this, just having that one set card isn't really going to help you out too much, which is unfortunate. We're going to set a copy of Change. We're going to banish that Change with the BLS and activate another copy of Change from hand. Mind Shuffle going to be changed to the Change. chained to the change, bouncing back the ritual to summon the other ritual, the Magician of Dark Chaos. And yeah, we see him go ahead and scoop. So we do see the ROLAD deck take it over the DoomZ Power Patron deck, which is a little unfortunate. Droll just being a crazy card. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, you guys. We appreciate the growth and following that we've been getting. And as always, stay cooking.